The stars were calm, silent, peaceful, but in deep space, something dangerous was moving. A giant alien fleet, over 1,000 warships, was flying straight toward Earth. The leader of this fleet was Admiral Zorak of the Zeltron Empire. He stood tall inside the command deck of his main ship, the Devourer. He looked at the blue planet in the distance and smiled. "Look at them," he said. "Small, weak, unarmed. They don't even have shield tech." His officers laughed. One of them replied, "Their satellites still use metal wires. This war will be over in one day." Admiral Zorak nodded. He had destroyed powerful races before. The Trinari Empire took 5 weeks. The Macon army lasted 7 days. But Earth would fall in just 1 hour. He opened a channel to the entire fleet. "This is Admiral Zorak. Begin the attack. Show the humans no mercy." The sky around Earth darkened. The alien ships moved fast, forming a wide ring. The fleet was so large that it could block out stars. On Earth, humans watched from telescopes. News stations showed the alien fleet approaching. Some people screamed, some prayed, but the leaders of Earth gave no orders. There were no launch signals, no warning lights. No defense systems came online. To Admiral Zorak, this was proof. They are scared. They know they've lost already. The alien ships began firing. Massive energy blasts flew toward Earth's orbit. Satellites exploded. Space stations were torn apart. But something strange happened next. When the first shots hit Earth's atmosphere, nothing happened. The blasts faded. The weapons stopped working. "What is this?" shouted Zorak. "Check the weapon data." An alien officer looked confused. "Sir, all systems are normal, but something is absorbing our attacks." "How?" Zorak growled. "They have no tech to block this." Just then, one of their warships, Zeta 41, went silent. Its signal was gone. Not destroyed, not damaged, just vanished. "Did we lose, Zeta 41?" Zorak asked. "No, sir," said the officer. "It's not destroyed. It's just no longer there. No fire, no explosion. It's like the ship was, never built." Another ship disappeared. Then a third. Panic spread. "Sir," an officer screamed, "it's happening randomly. Our ships are blinking out of existence." On the radar, dozens of ships were gone. No one saw them explode. They didn't even have time to send distress signals. Admiral Zorak's face went pale. "How are they doing this?" he asked. No one had an answer. Suddenly, a massive object appeared behind their fleet. It wasn't on any scan. No alarms were triggered. It just arrived, a black triangle floating silently. No lights, no engines, no weapons visible. "Identify that object," shouted Xorak. The officer scanned it. His voice shook. "Sir, that is not possible. It's a ship, a human ship." Zorak stared at the screen. "That thing is human." "Yes, Admiral, and it's bigger than anything we've seen." The black ship was silent. It did not move. It did not attack. But then a voice came through all alien systems. No signal, no source. It just entered their ships directly into every screen, every ear. The voice was calm, cold, and human. "You should not have come." Zorak's heart stopped. The message was only 5 words, but it felt like a death sentence. On many alien ships began to flicker. Engines failed. Weapons shut down, doors locked, and then, one by one, the ships vanished. Not blown apart, not shot down, just erased like someone deleted them from reality. Panic filled the fleet. Captains shouted for orders. Crews ran to escape pods. But the pods wouldn't launch. Nothing worked. Zorak tried to speak to his officers, but his voice was weak. "What? What are we facing?" No one answered. Even his strongest warriors were frozen with fear. The black human ship finally moved, just 1 inch. That was enough. Every alien on board felt something heavy in their mind, like a wave of pressure. Some fainted, some screamed. One officer fell to his knees and cried, and then the human ship vanished again. Like a shadow, it was gone. But in its place, a message appeared on every screen. "This is not your galaxy anymore." Admiral Zorak fell back in his chair. His claws shook. His eyes were wide. In all his years of war, he had never seen anything like this. No weapons, no soldiers, just silence. and that silence was more deadly than any laser beam. He turned to his crew and said in a broken voice, "They had no chance, and yet we are the ones who are dying." The fleet tried to retreat, but it was already too late. They had stepped into a trap. A war they thought was easy. Now it was just the beginning of humanity's revenge. The alien fleet was breaking. Admiral Zorak stood on his command ship, the Devourer, trying to stay calm. But deep down, he was terrified. More than 300 ships had vanished. No explosions, no signs of attack, just gone. The humans had shown no ships, no soldiers, no armies only. A black triangle that came and went like a ghost. And now, it was. Starting again, one of the smaller alien cruisers, Celtonines, an emergency signal. Unknown object inside the ship. We don't know how it got in. Admiral Zorak rushed to the screen. He watched through the cruiser's security cameras. The footage was silent. Red emergency lights flashed through long, empty hallways. And then they saw it. A single figure, humanoid, wearing a dark armored suit, no weapon in hand. It walked, slowly, calmly, as if it owned the ship. "That's impossible," whispered one officer. "There were no boarding pods, no breach. How did it get inside?" The camera zoomed in. It was a human in the control room of Zeltonine. Alien soldiers aimed their weapons at the door. They were ready, they were trained. But when the human entered, everything changed. The lights shut off, the weapons failed. The aliens screamed, but their voices didn't reach the bridge. Then, static. The screen went black. The ship disappeared from radar, just like the others. Admiral Zorak's hands trembled. How is a single human doing this? "Sir," said the science officer, voice shaking, "it's not just the person. They're using some kind of technology, something far beyond what we know." Zorak looked at the fleet's status board. More ships were blinking red. Some were sending strange messages. Others went silent. And then something terrifying happened. One ship the Ark and Spear sent, a clear transmission. It was a video. From inside the engine room, thousands of tiny machines, like black insects, were crawling along the walls. They were eating wires, melting steel, shutting systems down. "They're inside everything," someone screamed. The video shook violently. The last thing seen was an alien officer shouting, "Run! It's learning!" Then static Zorak shouted, "What is that?" The science officer replied, "We think it's a nanoweapon, a living machine. The humans made it, and now it's spreading. Can we stop it? No, sir. It's rewriting our ships." At that moment, the giant black triangle returned. Not far in the distance close this time, it hovered silently above 50 alien warships. And then, without a sound, it released something. Tiny dark clouds floated from it. At first, they looked like smoke. But scanners showed millions, maybe billions of small particles. The clouds flew toward the ships, shields up. Zorak shouted, Too late. The clouds entered the ships through the hull like ghosts. One by one, the ships died. No flames, no fire. Just ... silence. Inside each ship, the same thing happened. Lights failed, systems died, crew members vanished, and every ship left behind only one thing, a symbol glowing on the walls, a human handprint. Made of light, Zorak was losing control. Officers on the bridge were whispering, "Do they have an army? Is it just one human? How can they do this?" Zorak slammed his fist. "This is not war. This is something else. This is..." He paused. "No, this is a message." He finally understood. The humans weren't just fighting. They were teaching the galaxy a lesson, a painful one. He looked at the few ships still working. Only 500 left now. Half the fleet gone, and Earth, still silent, still untouched. Not a single human had spoken again. Not a single shot was fired. And yet, they were winning. Then came the final shock of the day. The human appeared again inside. Zorak's own ship, security alarms, screamed. Soldiers ran cameras, showed a shadow moving down the halls. A human figure, calm alone. The voice returned. "This is the first weapon. You forced us to wake it up. The next one will not be this kind." Then silence. The human vanished. Admiral Zorak sat in his command chair, shaking. He knew now this war would not be won by numbers. It would not be won by weapons, because this was not a war. This was a punishment, and the punishment had just begun. Admiral Zorak could not sleep. Not that he needed sleep, but his mind was heavy. The alien fleet had lost more than half its power without a single space battle, no lasers, no missiles, just fear, silence. And something far worse, a human had appeared on one of their ships. Then many ships vanished. Tiny machines living weapons had eaten their warships from the inside. And still, Earth said nothing. No demand, no reason. Only one message. You forced us to wake it up. Zorak knew this was no longer war. It was something deeper, something older, and now. Another ship had gone dark. The alien ship Veruane had stopped responding. It was a large battleship, 600 soldiers on board. 1 minute it was flying in formation. The next, it was floating, cold, and silent. Admiral Zorak sent a recovery team, 30 elite fighters, the best of the Empire. He ordered them, enter the ship, find survivors, report anything strange. They followed the command. 3 small crafts docked onto the VARU-8 dot inside the ship. All lights were dead. Only red emergency lights flickered. The halls were empty. No sign of the crew, no sounds, no gunfire. Only silence. One soldier said, "Maybe they escaped." The commander replied, "No escape pods were used. They're still here." They moved deeper. Then they saw the first strange thing in the dining hall. Trays of food were still on the tables. Some were half-eaten, drinks still cold, but no bodies. Weapons were on the floor. Helmets too, as if the crew had simply vanished. One door opened slowly. Inside was the sleeping area. But on the wall there was writing, not burned, not painted, but glowing dot words in human language, translated quickly by scanners. You were never safe. The soldiers now felt something cold in the air. One whispered, "I don't like this." They moved to the control room. Monitors were on. One camera still worked. It showed a hallway live feed, and there something moved, a dark shape, tall, human-like. The feed glitched, but they saw enough. It was a human, walking slowly, alone. The commander gave orders. Send 5 men to intercept. They did. The hallway was long. The 5 soldiers marched forward. But when they reached the spot, no one was there. Only more glowing words on the wall. You keep looking for us, but we were already inside you. Suddenly, the 5 soldiers started coughing. Blood came from their mouths. They fell to the floor, one by one. No wounds, no enemy, just death. The commander screamed, "Fall back! Return to the landing ship." But it was too late. The ship's doors closed. The docking clamps locked. They were trapped inside VARU-8. The hallway speakers turned on, but there was no voice. Only breathing. Slow, deep, human. Then, footsteps. The team turned their weapons in all directions. One of them fired. The bullet hit nothing. Then a shadow moved across the wall. Then another. A soldier screamed, "It's behind us!" They turned again, nothing. But one by one, they began to fall. Not from bullets, not from weapons, just from fear. Shut down. Hearts stopped, as if something inside them was being broken. The commander was the last one alive. He pressed record on his helmet. He spoke his last words. "This isn't war. This is a ghost, a human ghost." Then the camera dropped, and the screen went black. Admiral Zorak watched the final transmission. He stood up, silent. A long moment passed. He turned to his officers. "All of you, listen to me." They stood, confused, afraid. Zorak continued, "This is no longer a fight for victory. This is a fight to survive." He sent out a new command. "All ships, regroup. No more attacks on Earth, no more movement. We stay in formation and scan for anything that moves. If the humans come again, we run." But deep down, Zorak knew there was nowhere left to run, and still. Earth was quiet. No army came, no invasion. Fleet appeared. Only silence, and somewhere inside the silence, the ghost was still watching. Waiting, the alien fleet was falling apart. Admiral Zorak stood alone on the bridge of the Devourer. He watched the quiet blue planet far in the distance dash Earth. It hadn't fired a single shot, and yet his fleet was dying, Thousands of soldiers were gone. Dozens of ships had vanished. And now, something even worse was coming. A scout ship returned from the far side of the moon, but its crew looked sick, terrified. The captain of the scout spoke on the screen, eyes wide. "Admiral." "It's not a moon." "What do you mean?" Zorak asked. "It's a weapon, sir. A giant weapon. We saw it. It's covered, hidden, but it's not a moon. It's alive." Then the signal cut out. Zorak scanned the moon. It looked the same gray. Dead, quiet, but slowly something changed. The surface of the moon shifted. Lines appeared, cracks, like something under the surface was waking up. Then the moon moved, not spinning, not orbiting. It opened. Massive black plates began sliding. Away, like doors. Beneath them strange structures, towers, weapons, engines, and in the center, a core glowing red. One of Zorak's officers gasped. "That's a ship. The whole moon is a ship." The moon shook once. Then a deep hum filled the silence of space. It wasn't just a ship. It was Earth's secret weapon, hidden in plain sight. For centuries, the humans had turned their moon into a living war machine. Suddenly, dozens of alien ships lost control. Engines failed. Lights flickered dot from the center of the moon. A red energy wave spread across space. It moved like fire, but it wasn't heat. It was something else. Something that broke technology. Alien ships exploded without being touched. Others simply stopped working and drifted into space like metal coffins. Admiral Zorak shouted, "Form all ships into defense pattern. Target the moon." But nothing worked. Weapons refused to fire. Targeting systems were blind. Even the strongest warships were like children's toys. Now then the moon spoke not with sound, but with a thought. A message sent into every alien brain. Even Zorak heard it inside his mind. "You were warned. You brought death. Now feel what you gave." And from inside the moon, a new ship was born. It was massive, shaped like a black spear, silent, slow, but full of power. It moved toward the alien fleet. One ship fired on it. The shot bounced off like dust hitting. Stone dot, then the human ship responded. It didn't fire a weapon. Instead, it simply pointed its front toward the enemy ship. That ship melted. No explosion. No fire. Its metal turned to liquid. Its crew vanished. Zorak stared at the screen. "What kind of ship is that?" The science officer answered in a whisper. "We don't know. There are no engines, no weapons. It breaks the laws of physics." Another officer said, "It's not built for battle, Admiral. It's built to send a message." Zorak looked at the name on the side of the ship, written in bright blue Earth language. Leviathana, human warship. The first of its kind, and maybe the last thing any enemy would ever see. Then, for the first time, the humans sent a voice message. It played across every screen, every radio, every ship. "This is Leviathan. You attacked Earth. You killed civilians. You came with pride. Now leave in silence." And then, all alien jump drives were blocked. Every path out of the system was sealed. They couldn't escape. The humans had trapped them. Admiral Zorak stood frozen. His empire had ruled the stars for 200 years. He had destroyed 17 species. He had never lost a single battle. But now, he was facing something different. Not a species, not a planet, but an idea born from pain, and that idea was now awake. The moon was no longer a moon, and humanity was no longer hiding. The alien fleet was broken. Admiral Zorak watched the battlefield with dead eyes. Over 600 ships gone, hundreds of thousands of soldiers lost, and Earth hadn't even sent an army. Their moon had become a living weapon. Their black warship Leviathan melted enemy cruisers without firing a shot. No missiles, no lasers, just silence and death. Zorak gave the one order he had never said in his life. "Retreat now." The command went out. Alien ships turned away from Earth, engines powered. Up wormhole drives prepared for jump, but something was wrong. One by one, the ships reported failure. Drive offline, jump gate, blocked power loop, malfunction. Zorak's eyes widened. He turned to his engineers. "Why can't we leave?" The answer came quickly and it was terrifying. "Sir, the humans, they've locked the entire star system." Around the edge of the solar system, strange structures were now floating. Long black towers, spinning slowly. Earth hadn't just defended its planet, it had sealed the borders. The fleet was trapped. Like animals in a cage, panic spread. Ships tried to fire on the Black Towers. Nothing worked. Weapons exploded inside. Their own ship's engines backfired. Navigation systems went dark. Admiral Zorak shouted, "Calm down, reform lines." But no one was listening. Captains began fleeing in random directions. Some ships crashed into each other. The retreat had become chaos. And then it got worse. The Leviathan moved again. It didn't chase the fleet, it just floated slowly, watching. But wherever it looked, ships died. One ship tried to attack it before it could even aim. Its crew vanished. Gone in a blink, no smoke. Numbered blood, just uniforms left behind. Suddenly, the space between the alien ships rippled. Thousands of black drones appeared like shadows with wings. They moved fast, too fast, no engines, no heat signature. They didn't fire bullets, they simply passed through ships. And those ships shut down. Entire command decks went dark. Airlocks opened. People vanished. Zorak screamed, "Use energy barriers." But barriers didn't stop them. Nothing did. Then came the sound. Not a voice, not an explosion, a soft, constant drone. It came from the Leviathan, a low vibration. Like a heartbeat. Every alien in the fleet heard it, inside their minds, and it grew louder until many fell to the floor. Holding their heads, screaming, begging, one of Zorak's officers collapsed. Bleeding from his ears, another pulled his weapon and shot himself. The admiral was losing more soldiers to fear than to weapons. He looked out into space and saw the full horror. What began as a retreat had become a massacre. Zorak opened a galaxy-wide transmission. He sent it across all systems. "This is Admiral Zorak of the Zeltron Empire. We attacked Earth, and we failed. Their power is not numbers. It is not ships. It is something we do not understand. Do not come here. Do not fight them, because if you do, you will not survive." But even as he spoke, a message appeared. On every alien screen. From Earth, a voice calm, cold. "Retreat was your only mercy. You chose to stay. Now we choose to stay. Now we choose how it ends." And then the screen went black. Outside. The Leviathan pulsed once. A massive wave of light moved across space. Everything it touched turned silent. No explosions, no fire, just silence. 50 ships, 100, 200. Gone. And in the center of it all, Earth was still quiet, still untouched. Admiral Zorak fell to his knees. He looked at his hands. He was a warrior of a great empire, but now he was just a man waiting to die. The fleet was gone. The stars were quiet again, but nothing felt calm. Zorak survived. His ship was broken, his army was dead. He sat in silence, looking at Earth through the window. One planet, one species. And they had destroyed the strongest empire in the galaxy. But the war wasn't over. Because now, the galaxy itself had responded far away. Deep inside the Zeltron hive world, alarms screamed. The High Council was in panic. They had received Zorak's final message. "Do not come to Earth, you won't survive." But they didn't believe it. They were the hive, the ruling heart of the empire. Billions lived on the hive world. They sent reinforcements, a second armada, to finish what Zorak couldn't. 3,000 ships, all heading for Earth. But Earth didn't wait. Just one day after the new fleet left, a signal reached the hive world. It was short, one sentence. "You should have stayed silent." The message came from a single ship, not a fleet, not a planet. Just one ship. It arrived in the hive world system, like a shadow, small, dark, quiet. Zeltron scanners couldn't detect it at first. Then they saw it. A black, arrow-shaped ship, smaller than a cruiser. No weapons, no shields, no signs of life. Security laughed. "What is this? A probe?" They sent fighters to intercept. The fighters vanished in seconds, not destroyed, not shot, just gone. Then the hive world began to change. Skies turned red, air grew heavy, lights stopped working, screens glittered, ships refused to fly. One by one, every city on the planet shut down, in the sky above. The human ship opened, but it didn't fire. Instead, it released a cloud, black, silent, alive. It spread across the planet like smoke. At first, people thought it was poison. They put on masks, suits, but nothing helped because it wasn't a chemical weapon. It was something worse. Where the cloud passed, technology died. Computers turned to dust, weapons melted, armor cracked, and the people, they simply stopped moving. No screams, no burns, just stillness. Within 10 minutes, half the hive world was silent. No army, no defense. No hope then. The cloud burned, not with fire, with light. Blue light spread from the ground up, beautiful, deadly. Towers vanished, palaces disappeared. The central hive, once called the heart of the empire, crumbled into glowing dust. And from orbit, the black human ship spoke. Its voice was not angry, not loud, just final. You ruled through fear. You killed for power. Now your time is over. Back at the edge of the solar system, Admiral Zorak received the final message from home. The hive is gone. He fell to the floor, not in pain, not from injury, but from something worse. He was the last higher-ranking officer left alive. The Empire no longer existed. Zorak opened a private channel to Earth. He didn't beg, he didn't scream. He just asked, "Why are you doing this?" There was silence. Then a voice answered, a human voice. "We asked for peace. You gave us war. Now we give you silence." And the transmission ended. Zorak looked out at the stars. Billions of lives gone from one ship, no army, no invasion, just revenge, he whispered to himself. The hive burned first, but we will all follow. The galaxy was quiet. Zel.Zel-Ran, Hiverworld, the center of an empire, was now ash. Its skies once glowed with cities and ships. Now there was nothing. No life, no sound, just dust, floating in silence. All of it, destroyed by one human ship. The message spread fast. Every alien species heard what happened. Some refused to believe it. Others started to panic. But all of them asked the same question. How did the humans do this? No answer came. Not from Earth, not from any human only. Silence. In the deep corners of the galaxy, alien leaders met in secret. The Galactic Council made of 27 powerful civilizations held an emergency session. Admirals, generals, kings, queens, all afraid, all confused. One elder spoke. This war was never supposed to go this far. Another replied, "We thought Earth was weak." A third shouted, "We must ask for peace before they erase us all." And so they did. A message was sent directly to Earth, translated into every language. It said, "We were wrong. We attacked, we killed, we now beg for peace. Please stop." They waited. 1 day, 2 days, 3 no. Reply, some began to cry. Some prepared for death. Then, finally, a human ship appeared in galactic space. Not Leviathan, not a black weapon, just a small white ship, simple, round, clean, no weapons, no armor. Inside was one human, a woman. The council welcomed her with fear. They bowed. They offered gifts. Gold, jewels, star maps. She said nothing. Finally, the head of the council stood. He was a 4-armed alien named Tyrek. He spoke softly. "We accept your power. We ask for forgiveness. We are ready for peace." The human woman looked at him and finally spoke. "We do not want your gold. We do not want your gifts. We wanted peace before, but you came to our home and killed our people." Her voice was not angry, it was calm. To calm, she continued. "Now we are awake, and we will not sleep again." The room went cold. One council member asked carefully, "Then what do you want?" She looked at them all, then said, "Nothing." And then she vanished, right in front of their eyes. No ship, no light, just gone. Moments later, a signal reached every major planet, not from a ship, not from a radio, from the sky itself, above. Every alien world, stars began to move, forming one message, written in every language. "This is your only warning. Never touch Earth again." Then the stars returned to normal, and silence returned. Across the galaxy, entire armies were shut down. Factories stopped, warships stayed in hangars. Fear ruled now, not by force, but by memory. The memory of what one human did, the memory of what Earth became. Some still begged, others prayed, but no one dared send another ship to Earth. They understood. Now this was no longer a war. This was a lesson. And humanity had spoken, not with fire, not with hate, but with power. The galaxy was quiet now. No fleets moved, no weapons fired, no one spoke Earth's name with pride or anger, only fear. In dark corners of space, empires whispered, "We thought they were weak." And that single thought, those few words, became the most dangerous lie in galactic history. It all began with confidence. Earth was a young planet, new to space, slow ships, old tech, small defenses, easy to crush, or so the galaxy believed. And so they attacked. They came with fleets, with fire, with death. They killed Earth's people, burned cities, laughed at their weakness. But Earth never begged. Earth never surrendered. Earth ... waited ... And when Earth answered, the sky changed. The stars went dark, and silence became the strongest weapon. Now, no one approached the solar system. The borders were closed not by force, but by fear. Species remembered what happened. The moon that opened like a machine, the ship called Leviathan that melted fleets with no sound, the black swarm that erased cities, and the human voice that spoke once and ended wars. Even the bravest empires rewrote their maps. They no longer said Earth or human space. Instead, they used one word: void, a warning, a grave, a place no one returns from. Admiral Zorak survived. He lived in exile, far from his old empire, what little was left of it. Alone, broken, he had once commanded thousands of ships. Now he sat in silence, staring at the stars. He kept one screen alive. It showed Earth, always Earth, quiet, blue, peaceful. And yet, so dangerous, he recorded one last message, his voice weak, his face older. "I thought they were weak. I led the first attack. I believed they would fall in 1 hour." He looked into the camera, but now I understand. Humanity was never weak. They were simply patient. They waited until the moment came. And when they rose, they destroyed everything. His voice shook. "This is a warning to any who find this message. Do not go near Earth. Do not speak of Earth. Do not dream of war." He looked up at the stars. Because humanity is still watching, and next time, they won't speak at all.